I'm fond of interacting with different students. Like in every session, we have new faces. And though teaching profession is both challenging and rewarding,
Mhm.
but besides teaching, I have today nowadays I am developing a habit of interacting with different people from different walks of life. Like as I'm having interacting session with you, same way I try to interact with other YouTubers also. We have some WhatsApp group and other group also to, so it get it. I also get a chance to have some experience, to get some knowledge from the different people from the different walks of life and how they are trudging and struggling to get their target.
Mhm.
So it's equally, I would say, it's a form of connecting and also getting an insight to which further to enhance, like it helps in me in honing my skills, in
Mhm.
getting better, learning something or getting some good experience from them.
Okay.
beside this Besides this, I am a 24 hours worker. Not a worker, homemaker. We have habit of teach, like we have that habit to call ourselves unpaid workers. We are not,
No,
like it's not a thankless job, but still we are
well, it is an
on our
unpaid
toes,
job.
on the roll.
Yeah, but it is an unpaid job. It is kind of a no, uh, like there is a very good word for that, which is not coming to me right now. But yeah, a job that does not pay very well, but has a few perks. For example, that you are treated well by various people inside your household. You are given a certain pedestal, right? You are the mother, you are the provider, you are the nurturer, and
So
so you
we
are.
are not given pedestal, we are given new responsibilities in every phase of life.
Really, you don't find the people in your household to be appreciative of the effort that you put in to maintain the household, to keep
So
the
it is
old
like,
machinery chugging on.
no, it's like an obligation. You have to perform those duties.
I guess gratitude needs to be inculcated in people very often, right? So
Yeah, it should be there.
it should be a part of their education. That if
Yes.
in my household we have made it a habit to like every time, for example, a mother presents food, right? She sets up the dining table, for example, and gives you food to eat. We do have a habit of thanking waiting staff, for example, in hotels for that, but we don't ever thank our mothers for the same job, right? So in our household we have or I think I have actually made a rule that whenever mother gives you food, you have to say thank you to her, and you have to get up and get if you want some additional item, you not ask her, you would basically ask her to sit down with
Sir,
your
it
own
is
self.
very, so
Hmm.
three wisdoms are there in our life. So first of the wisdom is to be grateful to others, those who are helping you in any way.
Hmm.
So we should have that gratitude to thank God or thank mother or father, mother, those who are there in the form of God. So I think mother is, yes, mother and father, both the parents are equally important, and they are same. They hold the same value as God have for us.
God, yeah.
So though I have that gratitude for my parents,
Hmm.
I also always pray God for the things I'm getting. Like, even if I'm in rushing to have my food, but only thing we say is thank you God for everything.
Hmm.
And before going to bed also, like before hitting our sack, uh, hitting the sack means we, the last words we utter is me and my son, we have that habit of thank you God for everything, thank you God for everything, thank you God for everything.
Hmm.
So yes, it is like a feeling of I would say ki accomplishment we get whenever we are appreciated or we are thanked for anything we have done, or we have made some change in the lives of anyone, like even a family member, our kids or students.
Hmm.
So like,
But the
and after,
same
like,
level of reverence is not reflected when it comes to you. Is that what your larger point is there? The
sir,
same amount
actually
of
my,
veneration which your children show towards a deity, for example, or
No, 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 no. My son, sir, my son, he shows that gratitude, uh, like for God also, for deities also, but for mother, they take it for granted. You no need to say so, but sometimes they say, "Thank you, mother. Thank you, mother."
So I'm not pointing a finger at your style of upbringing, but I do want to bring, something in perspective here. For example, in Indian, parents don't actually teach their children to say thank you when they are given food, right? And this is something that we have not been taught by our parents either. When you look at Westerner kids, whenever I see a lot of videos of little toddlers being taught, interactions, little very wholesome interactions, which make for very good wholesome fun in YouTube short video format, right? So I see a lot of them. The mother, gives the food and asks the child, "What do you say?" And the child replies, "Thank you, mom." Right. So this kind of, I guess, inculcation of gratitude towards people who are around you and providing. I don't think these
Sir,
are
it
very.
should be there. It should
They
be
should.
there, and it will improve. It will improve the family culture a lot, and
Definitely. Yeah.
especially like female will get that importance and position in the family and society.
Mm. For
But
sure.
like
There's a very famous English proverb which says, familiarity breeds contempt, right? So, have you ever heard about this? Familiarity breeds contempt. Can you like shed some light on it, maybe?
familiarity breeds
Contempt.
contempt is hatred,
It's not
but
exactly hatred. It's more like disrespect or a
disrespect to
lack of.
dislike you. Yes.
So,
So, but
for example,
familiarity, how it is like in what context I want to, it is
I'll
like
give you an
familiar is a
example to
positive.
understand. I'll give you an example to understand. When I was in my hometown itself, when I had never been outside my home, I had never stayed at a hostel or in a PG before. I used to be extremely critical of my mother's style of cooking, and I think a lot of children do that. When they become too accustomed, they become too acclimatized to the kind of food that they receive. They don't realize its true value. They don't really relish it. They don't really value it much. They're not appreciative of the effort that goes in. Once you go out, once you move out of your hometown and then you stay in a PG hostel or PG or a hostel setting, and then the kind of food that you receive there, there's a remarkable difference between the quality. And then you start appreciating more and more, my mother's cooking, you start missing it much more, right? You start craving for it, and you basically appreciate it much more than you did already, right? So in that context, if you see, because you were very exposed to that kind of treatment, right? Your mother was waiting on hand and foot for you, and so that was just a regular thing for you. You did not pay much attention to it. You received it without any consequences, right? But when that particular amenity was taken away from you, then you find a new the appreciation for it, and you start relishing it, you start cherishing it. So in that context, it can be said that familiarity does breed contempt, even with relationships. For example, if you stay with a person for too long, some of his quirks, that if you stay away, some of his eccentricities might appear like endearing to you, might appear a little cute to you, but same can become a source of agitation or irritability if you live too close with that individual. So in that context, that is why I guess, the saying goes that familiarity breeds contempt. Now, can you relate to that?
So in my case, I had been in like from the early childhood, I was in boarding school. So
Mm.
we have that custom to always pray to God before having any meal. But
Okay.
yes, I miss my home food or my parents a lot. But we have that values. We still love our parents a lot. We miss everything they have created for us.
Mhm.
So there is no thing of like contempt
Mhm.
like in my upbringing or in my parents, like I would say that
That
is
was
a
just an
dislike to the.
example, right? It's not necessary that you have gone through the particular parameters that were espoused in the example, but you understand I guess, the essence of what the proverb is trying to say, right? That was my point. So that is why the saying goes, familiarity. In Hindi, we say "Ghar ki murgi dal barabar," right? Is the exact same sentiment being reflected in this proverb as well, in this axiom as well. So if you are too familiar with somebody, you don't develop the proclivity to respect or appreciate him a lot.
So I have different aspect of this relation, I would say. But yes, in case like I would like to state that as I'm good in studies or I have that passion for teaching, but still my kids, they don't love to learn something from me, a new skill, or they don't try to have that. Like they are not interested in having some session with me in whether it is in conversation classes or like as English is my subject, so my son or my daughter, they are not interested in learning English language. So in
So
that case we
my
can
point
say that.
exactly, it basically adds more credibility to what I'm saying, right? So it's, for example, another thing that comes to my mind is a lot of very famous celebrities. For example, Hugh Jackman, the guy who plays Wolverine, he was once talking about his son. That the first time I got the role of Wolverine, I communicated that to my son. He fell down. He almost broke down in tears. He said, "You will not do justice to this role because you are too much of a nice guy to play Wolverine." Right. And today we realize that he was one of the best persons. He's like accoladed by most of the industry and most of the critics, most of the audience members also, as being entirely irreplaceable. Right. So, but in his own son's eyes, that was not the case. He was of the opinion that you might fudge up the opportunity, right? Completely.
Hmm.
And he does not view the people we view as cool, right? Their own family
Hmm.
members don't view them as being that cool and that suave and that charismatic as we tend to see them, right? So that is the essence of like, I think you are thinking of contempt in a very harsh, very negative, very pejorative light, and that is
Yes.
why you are finding offense with it. But the general idea is that you are not as appreciative of people
Yes.
around you if their services are readily available. Once the
Hmm.
opportunity is taken away, then you
Miss.
develop a deeper, yeah, then
Yes.
you develop a deeper respect for them, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So how many sessions have you completed on the platform so far, Pramila?
I have completed around 14 or 15 sessions.
Okay. So, first of all, I would like to understand you already possess a lot of command over the English language. This is, you stay in Delhi, which is very conducive to like regular English usage also. For a person such as me who lives in Bihar does not even find the opportunity to
No, but
interact with
sir, you
people.
are excellent, superb in using your vocab.
You are being too kind, madam.
No, it's
Try my
true
best.
appreciation.
Okay, I feel honored by that commendation, but okay. So, but there is a problem here, and I see a lot of learners on the platform also who live in different parts of the country, especially in northern India. Even office-going professionals, they do not find the opportunity to articulate their views and opinions in front of other people utilizing the English language itself, right? So, for you, I would guess you are an atypical example of a learner in that regard. Okay, because I would guess that because of your profession, you would find ample opportunity to do just that. So
Yes,
you would not be, uh, you would not miss out on your daily practice. The one of the most uh, convoluted impediments that I have to deal with and I have to advise for to my learners is about how to get daily practice, because
sir.
they say
Actually,
that.
sorry to interrupt, but I would like to state that in our school, English is taught only as a subject. It's not a medium of communication, even in among our like we staff members, faculties, English faculty, not even uh,
Doesn't speak English all the time.
communicate in English. So, but I'm very much convenient in this language because from very like my schooling is from English medium, and in my school days and when I was in boarding school, we had only English as a medium of communication. So that is still with me,
Hmm.
and I try to learn as many things as I can. Like, but if you talk about practice, uh, it is not possible everywhere to have that much like who is more competent or more better than you so that you can converse with them and get some insight or new words that I
Hmm.
can learn from them.
Okay.
We can have interaction, but the level of the other side person is
Okay,
around
I get your
intermediate
point.
level.
Yeah. You need people to basically give you thought provocative answers or responses, or
Yes,
you
yes,
need people who are a little more proficient at the art, at the craft itself,
yes,
so that you can take cues from them, so that you can it
yes.
can be converted into a learning process. How
Hmm.
often do you get to speak English on a daily basis in your line of work? Like how much percentage wise, if you could give me
In
a number?
my like I have sections. I'm teaching 4 sections, so in my teaching periods, I converse in English with
Only in
students.
English. Okay. So see,
Yes.
even
Beside
that
that,
is a luxury. You know why? Because I teach English to class 11th and 12th students around here. Okay, in various institutes on like on an hourly basis, you could say. I'm a freelancer. You could say I'm an educational freelancer. Okay, so even teaching to 11th standard, 12th standard student, most of my job comprises translating text. So it's not like
yes, it happens.
okay.
So it is the truth. I too use bilingual method, but in some section I have tried in this session, like from the this April, we are going to communicate only in English. But it is possible when like students who are willing to
Uh,
participate equally.
Exactly, and you should have the right crowd in front of you. Whenever I have tried out that approach, the feedback that I've received from the administrators as is that it becomes too cumbersome for some
Yes,
students to even
cumbersome.
follow, your chain of thought. So some
Yes,
they,
yes,
they
yes.
get they get lost basically midway.
Hmm.
So you have to like what is the correct term here? You have to intersperse some Hindi at least, right? You have to
Yes, yes.
garnish with a little bit of
We
Hindi here.
use Hindi plus English in between. Like in a sentence, you will use some words of Hindi and rest of the sentence in English.
Okay. So what I'm trying to gauge from our conversation right now is like you already have very good command on the basics, on the fundamentals. At least your construction is very good. Your confidence level is very, very fine, very appreciable. You maintain good eye contact also, and the words that you have been using, don't use like simple vocabulary only. You are privy, you are exposed to some advanced vocabulary words as well. So. What are your expectations from your tutors here? What exactly do you where do you want to find an enhancement? Where do you want to elevate? In what
So
aspect?
you are exact like what I was searching for. You are just exact that type of tutor. You have that command of, or I would say, a bank of advanced vocabulary, and
Okay.
you are using those words in our daily like we are having a casual conversation exactly.
Uh,
So I love to have a tutor like you, like who are much better than me, like from a
I
learner.
thought
But
I think you have an
I'm
overestimation of my skill, but I still I feel honored by your kind words, and I'll give you a thank for that. Okay. So if you want, because we are running out of time, and I want to make our first session a little bit productive. Also, I want you to go away with some pointers from me today, and not just engage in just pleasantries and just small talk. So what I do, for example, if you see that I'm using some advanced vocabulary, so what happens
yes,
is, as an English teacher, you might have also found this trouble. There would be a discrepancy between the number of words that you already know, that are in the recesses of your mind, but are not easily accessible when you engage in real time conversations, right? So those
yes,
words
yes,
you find in literature, if you find them again somewhere, if somebody speaks, for example, if I utilize them during my speech, you would recognize, you would understand completely. You don't have to be given any elaboration on that, what that word means, but you fail to actually utilize it yourself during speech. So
yes,
there is a disparity between the number of words that you know and the numbers that of words that you are able to use. So there is a
yes,
trick
yes,
for that I personally employ. Okay, and I'm going to share it with you. All right. So for example, I'll give you an example. Recently I was watching a video, okay, on YouTube. It was something about penguins. It was a wildlife journalism kind of video from BBC or something, some other sort of source. So the word they used was predilection. They were talking about the mating habits of penguins, and that penguins generally are monogamous, so they mate for life. Okay. So the word that they used was predilection. Penguins have a predilection of choosing a mate for life. Okay. So I recognize that word. Okay, predilection. Okay, it's something to do with tendency. Then I searched my mind for different words that I utilize instead of tendency. So the words that came to my mind were propensity. and proclivity and tendency itself. Okay, so these three words I already knew. These three words were in my active vocabulary, but this predilection word was not there. So what I do for that is I write down the new word. Next to it, I don't write down its meaning. I write down synonyms that are already, like, I am utilizing already. Okay.
Yes, you are aware of familiar words you write with that different word.
Yes, the words that readily come to my mind. Okay,
Yes, yes.
words that I'm more likely to use in a real time
Hmm.
conversation. So I write down those words and then I make a mental note that the next time that I have to use proclivity or propensity or predisposition or anything like that, tendency, the easiest word there, I would use predilection instead. Okay, and it takes a little bit of trial and error. The first time that you try to do that, the right word will not come to you, but at least you will have that mental reminder, right, that there is a word I know, I just am not being able to recall it. So you might have to open your diary. First of all, you have to maintain a glossary of all the words
Okay.
that you have to do that analysis on your own, right, that this is a word that I know, I understand, but I don't use. Okay, so you have to make that judgment call and then you have to write it down. You have to write down the words that you do use instead of those, and then make a mental note. For example, a day earlier, I think I was watching a video about Korean street lights or something, and they said they have very assiduously placed these street lights everywhere. So this word also, again, I was using words like meticulous or
Hmm.
punctilious or
Hmm.
conscientious, right? For a person,
Hmm.
utilizing a lot of, like, giving a lot of attention to detail. But assiduous,
Meticulously means you are doing it very fine, like
yeah,
with every detail.
very carefully, exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
being ultra uber careful. So, but
Yes.
this word assiduous, I was not utilizing myself. So I wrote down assiduous and I wrote down meticulous, punctilious, conscientious, and everything next, scrupulous next to it,
I
right?
have, sir. I have book bank like with 5,000 of words in uh, vocabulary words it
Hmm.
has. But thing is, I'm not revising it regularly. So the synonyms they don't have, just. I means I'm not able to recall the nearest or closest new synonym for that word. Are in the habit of using that basic vocabulary that we are very much familiar in our from the
Correct.
last years.
But it's
So
completely upon you to change your habit, right? So
yes,
if you start
yes.
thinking nowadays, whenever I'm watching even a video for recreation,